Well, hey, good morning, everybody. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. My name is Jared. I am your host. Lucky to be here another day with you. Where to begin? I recently I posted a video this morning. What's up, Bob? Posted a video this morning. Hey, Kara. Um, I recently eulogized Asada Shakur. I said, "Hey, rest in peace. She was a revolutionary, whatever. We never meet your heroes because when you dig deeper on that person, they were deeply problematic and troubled. And like, there's a reason I say like, just appreciate that person existed and just remember all the good things they did. Because man, there's a other side of that coin. Um, and I received in reply 19,786 words, I think, across three separate posts from the same person. Almost 20,000 words. Um, and I thank them. I will not be saying her name, but what they conveniently did for me was all of the what I would call initial research of cheap talking points that are anti-socialist. Um, and rather than waste my time replying in the comment section, let's just live out reality, shall we? So, I can promise you, if you ask any other human being on earth, would you rather the world continue to be like it is? Or would you rather have universal healthcare, education, income, and housing? They're going to take the universal healthcare, education, income, and housing. What do I have to do to get that? And as I've said, there has to be an example in the United States. I think it's going to be a lot easier because one of the things that I have made sure to do is to build a small core audience of people that I trust, that have shown up every day alongside me and sat with me as we talked about the news, we talked about politics. Um, and again, I've said if I did any of this so that I could run for office, man, that's a damn shame. It'd be a shame if I was doing it for money. Okay. Um, and there's a reason I've done it is because money influences things. Money has a way of making you not want to talk about certain shit. Uh, the way the world works is people think money equals power and control. And I wanted one thing that I could do in my whole life. Yeah, I wanted one thing that I did in my whole life other than this show. The American Socialist Party is what I'm alluding to, by the way. Other than this show, that is just pure as the driven snow. That has no captain of this ship, right? I'm just lucky to be here. I look out upon all of the other people that are using their platform, and a lot of people are needing to take breaks and shit, and are not able to weather the storm, that are not able to sit down, take a look at what's going on around them without having to fucking dip out every now and then and recharge, and as if there's not times where I have to dip out and recharge. Mm. Okay. But never on the truth. Never on what is actually going on out here in the world, kind of despite the narrative. Okay. I think the story of the day is that Greta Thunberg has been detained as Israel intercepts um, the flotilla. Okay. when somebody says them socialists are equal to MAGA, I'm sorry, they couldn't be less alike. When someone says, why, hmm. So they intercepted like 19 ships and there were over 40 ships. So it looks like some of this aid is going to reach Gaza. Yeah, it's a crazy time to be alive. French troops have boarded a Russian linked tanker. This, uh, less than 24 hours ago. Love this. So many grown ass men can't handle Greta. You know what they say? There's no greater friend than someone who would lay their life down for their friends, right? She's a very deep person. I recently she was asked if she was afraid, and she says not afraid of the Israelis. She's afraid of the indifference of the Western people that have given up and lost hope. That this has become too overwhelming from them. They had to shield their eyes from this, and they can't watch. You know, Ukraine officially reveals long-range Neptune D missile with 1,000 kilometer reach. Here's drone strikes shut 38% of Russian oil refineries. Gas output falls 1 million tons. About, like I said, about 40% of their. Now, here's an interesting thing. Donald Trump signed an order considering an attack on Qatar as a security threat to the United States. So I wonder if Donald Trump was paid off. Is he trying to build. Days after the Israeli strike in Doha, Trump held dinner with the Qatari Prime Minister in New York. So, is he trying to play both sides? So, Russia will begin importing gasoline from Asia, all for money. Yeah. Jesus Christ. COVID cases are rising with new variants, Nimbus and Stratus. What the fuck? Meanwhile, the President of the United States built a $500,000 ballroom or whatever, right? The Royal Netherlands Air Force F-35 scores first Russian drone kill during a mission in Poland. So hey, I mean, what's great about all this is we've been keeping up with this timeline. So we're seeing all these things sort of converge over the days of the show. I mean, I remember it's kind of funny to look backwards a little and be like, I kind of remember the conversations leading up to Ukraine getting to the point now where they're unveiling long range weapon capability. They're also um, they're actively using UN assets to disperse of Russian drones. I mean, it's I hate to say it's happening in real time, but like these yeah. 12 hours ago, per Reuters, the U.S. to give Ukraine intelligence on long range energy targets in Russia. So keep this in mind. I think, you know what I think? I think the U.S. military is going to do what the U.S. military is going to do. Do you think Donald Trump turning on fucking Putin here? I mean, this is a betrayal of a betrayal of a betrayal of a betrayal. Like, we could just keep going. But, like, the U.S. deciding to give Ukraine intel regarding energy assets in Russia after we just saw like 40% of their. I mean, obviously they're connected together, Jared, right? Where do you think the intel is coming from? Again, I've said like the best war fighters we have are on the front lines in Ukraine from the U.S. Drone strike kills Ukrainian mayor backed by Russia. Stooge mayor used a precision drone strike in the Russian occupied southeast of the country. Okay. Well, here's the closed loop. So remember we started pretty early talking about military world things, things that have like worldwide impacts. The French military boarding a Russian tanker is relevant internationally. The reason why they did that is also relevant internationally. They did that because that Russian linked oil tanker is accused of launching drones. And I was kind of wondering like what about the big container ships as for the housing for drones for transport? Okay. So one of the things that we're learning, hey Val, and good morning everybody. There's 17 people here. Um, Angie Bob, Dubs, Gab, Zeke, Beck, Evelyn. Shit, my wife's probably here. Anyway, Greece showing us how to get it done. Okay. There has been a general strike against the 13-hour workday. Yeah. 24-hour strike brought mass disruption to services across the country on Wednesday as thousands of workers in the public and private sectors stopped work and took to the streets. Wow. It's crazy, right? Look what a general strike can do. Yeah, I mean, kind of had to happen, right? They they were getting kind of goat fucked. So my whole life, um, boomers have made fun of me for being tech savvy, right? Just being able to sit down at a computer and speak its language. Um, and I've regarded things like cyber attacks and data breaches as like wildly important and impactful and could even destroy things. And one of the ways you be able to see it, if you've ever had Asahi, is one of Japan's biggest beer producers recently was hit with a cyber attack. Okay, and they don't know when they'll be able to resume production. They have 30 plants in Japan making beer. All of them have stopped production because of a cyber attack. So think about that. I just like that it's like the manifestation. You can see it in your face. This big beer giant can't even produce anything because of a cyber attack. Like they're producing beer, right? All right. AP News. About 15 hours ago, Israel orders Palestinians to leave Gaza, saying those who stay will be seen as militants. Can the hackers go after Nintendo too? Right. The unhackable. I love how in the United States you're called an expat or an asylum seeker when you leave the United States, but when you come to the United States you're called an immigrant. You're not called an expat. You're not called an asylum seeker. Oh, I think we talked about this. Russia is being accused of sabotaging the last power line into. Sorry, I'm just reading articles. This nuclear plant that they've taken over. The art of the deal. Taiwan won't agree to the US's 50-50 chip idea. Donald Trump's a fucking moron. You've heard of Chernobyl. How about Chornobyl? Russian attack causes a blackout at Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Yay! Forget nuclear war. Sabotage nuclear power plants. Drones over military generals and military facilities in Germany. Yeah, right. I try to never be surprised, right? Looks like, now this was actually signed last year. Hello? Oh no. Yeah, like what the fuck? Sorry. Lost my screen on my right. Came back. Here we go. Sorry. It didn't come back. It came back. It's kinda back. Okay. Try to make it work. Let's see. Scientists make embryos from human skin DNA. Man, serial killers have been trying to do that forever. I want to be real with you. This is just not working for me. Can you all see me still? I just need to close. Oh, like goodness. So, give me just a moment. Absolute nonsense. Browser just completely crapped out. Yeah, there we go. It finally closed. We're open back up. We'll be back. This is where you put up the screen. Oh, awesome. I guess we could just use Chrome. I don't really want to do that. But let's do it. Haven't used Chrome in a while, so you have to forgive me as I get my tabs open. Interesting time to be alive, that's for sure. But man, we've watched this kind of escalate over the last few days, haven't we? Where we were just kind of talking about. But man, we've watched this kind of escalate. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ooh, here's one. 8 minutes ago. U.S. Special Forces ghost ship MV Ocean Trader appears off of Venezuela's coast. Venezuela's coast. Can't stand to watch the press briefings. I don't watch them either. Retired U.S. Supreme Court Justice fears democracy is not guaranteed to survive. Yeah, remember, Republican led House, Senate, presidency, and Supreme Court, and they shut the government down. Because that's ultimately what they want. They want to get rid of all the rules, they want all the money and power and control, right? Because they can't have relationships with their kids or their spouses. And they hate their spouses and their kids. They hate their lives. Think about the audacity of being a racist married to a brown woman. JD Vance. Thinking about being anti immigrant and your fucking wife is English ain't her first fucking language. That bitch speaks Sputnik. I could continue. Look at Stephen Miller's wife, who again, not surprised she's fucking Elon. Not surprised at all. I'm willing to bet it was consensual. This is so wild. Opera straight up will not open when I click to open it. All right. Hey, lucky you managed to get any Wi-Fi. I love Indian, Pakistani food. Yeah, me too. Because they season their food. By the way, so y'all will, let's take a break here to have a fun laugh, okay? So my wife and I, on our time off, we like to, uh, is it Grace? Grace local businesses with our business and presence. And so we were kind of driving around one day, and I don't know if it's a chain. So if this is a chain, it's a shitty chain, and that's not going to work. But there's this Mexican margarita little business around the corner from our house. And we try to eat there like a couple times a week and spend our money here, because we want it to stick around. And every time we go in there, there's no one in there. There will be a family of Mexicans will come in there and eat. A family of, let me back up, not be so racist, but a Latino family will come in there and eat. A black family will come in there and eat. But we don't ever see any white people that come in there. And the reason I know why white people don't come in there, because their salsa is spicy. Their tomatillo is spicy. Their food has flavor. Their margaritas will fucking wreck you. It's real, about as authentic Mexican Tex-Mex, I'd say, American Mexican, really, restaurant you go to. Mm. White people don't like that shit because it's not bland enough. And how do I know this? Because in the happiest place on earth, my wife and I went to fucking Disney and stayed at a resort at Disney, and we went to eat the food, the communal food that they feed everyone in these fucking troughs, and that shit was bland as fuck. And we were looking around the whole time like, what's are they trying to get us to not eat? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, they just don't season this shit. And then one of the servers was a black lady, and she came up and she said, "Honey, we don't just have salt and pepper on every table." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Oh, there's like at least 5 or 6 different spices on every table because not everybody likes spice in their food at all." And you're just like, "Oh my God." But it's like spicy breakfast sausage is supposed to have chili flake in it. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So we want it to stay open. And so my wife was like, "What can we do?" Because like we don't have friends. It's not like we're gonna get people to go there. Um, but I'm dead ass. Like we get the same things every time we go. Chips and salsa and a little queso and tacos and margaritas, and we get the fuck out. We pay them good money. Yeah, yeah. So they have a nice little green salsa for Zeke. That's more earthy and greeny and green than it is spicy. But yeah, that's why white people don't eat there, is because even you know what the funny thing about it, even their queso is spicy, and you're like, yeah, I know why white people don't like this shit. It's kind of funny. Doesn't matter to me. I'll eat this shit. Uh, my wife gives me her food. You know what I mean? Because my wife will order 3 tacos and eat two. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's more for me. Um, but I always think it's hilarious. Every time we go in there, the place is empty, and it's like it's comes out hot, tastes good. You know, I don't feel like I'm being robbed. You know what I mean? Think about it like chips and queso tacos for two, double margs, the big 32-ounce margs, two of those each. So that's four of those big margaritas, two orders of tacos, like 110. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Mm-mm. Dev said I want to cry in the morning. Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't hurt my belly at all. So we've decided like we're going to go there. We're gonna go there and we're gonna spend our money. Um, Apparently nobody lives in Indiana. I keep getting when I don't doom scroll anymore. I've made it a point that I'm also not gonna view these people, right? I'm not gonna go watch. You know what I'm saying? The downfall of society through watching the idiots in charge, right? I love being Irish, but no tasty food. That's why beer's so thick. Got to get nutrition from somewhere, right? Right. And as a former hardcore alcoholic, I completely understand why you believe beer is nutritious, and I'm not going to argue because nope, you got it. Sounds good. By the way, Mike Johnson was caught on camera admitting that Donald Trump is unwell and said, "Well, yeah, I mean they must just be busy when we're not there. We must just keep other people from going by not announcing when we're gonna go ever." By the way, the whole time I've lived in this house, we haven't really had the money to like keep up the yard how I would like, and my shoulders fucked up as I get older, and I was just like, man, I'm just gonna pay somebody to take care of my yard. And similarly to the Mexican restaurant, I found a Latina-owned local landscaping company that I pay oodles of American dollars to completely eliminate all of the weeds from my grass. Okay, we need more grass, but I ain't got no weeds. And also, and it looks natural. It lays over instead of stands straight the fuck up. Grass don't stand up. And they ripped out the bushes on both ends of the house, put in mulched beds, put in flowers, uh, tore out my flower beds, put in flowers, mulched that, mulched the other front fascia. My house looks fucking nuts. The only thing I think is I need a power washer to power wash all the shit off the side of the house, and then I probably need to repaint. So yay, more work. The joys of homeownership. But yeah, she really got the whole thing kind of ripped off. We got all kinds of work done. Yeah, I think the search for Mike Johnson's grinder handle. Oh, you know what else I recently heard? And again, I want to continue to make sure that we point out that this is hey Mayflower kid, I agree. Um, this is an inclusive show, okay? So I want to make sure that we're very careful when we talk about the sexual preferences of our enemies. Remember, the primary issue that they have is they're repressing their lifestyles. They are suppressing who they really are at our expense. We should encourage these people to be who you really are. And this entire GOP is a bunch of You know what I'm talking about. Um, yep. So I heard that Pete Hegseth has a Grinder account. Just to the surprise of no one, I didn't really know how to say it, so I figured I'd just blurt it out. Um, so obviously, this means that I wonder if Cash Patel has a Grinder. It makes me wonder who else has a Grinder account. But yeah, the Secretary of War in the United States has a Grinder account. It's just a picture of his chest with his white nationalist uh, shit. Hmm. Yeah, Keg's breath. He's so that's what I got out of all this. That they have Grinder accounts. No wonder that Grinder shuts the fuck down when the RNC's in town, and it's because they're a bunch of they're a bunch of men that weren't accepted for who they were when they were young, and it's been that way their whole life. They're just wrong and wrong-headed constantly, and if they had just come out, all of this could have been avoided. Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the saddest part. The saddest part that most of the time when you're an extremist, right? Like a right-wing extremist, the woman that you end up with is the woman that you beat, battered, and abused and tormented into this relationship. Remember, um, I've always had way more female friends than male friends. I cannot tell you how many women have told me they're only with the person they're with because they had a child. And that if it weren't for our kids, I'd never talk to that person ever the fuck again in my life. But we have kids, so we're gonna play fucking nice. And it's just like, somebody said, I'm okay with a gay sex stuff, but not Pete. No, they're just repressed. Um, our oppressors are repressed. The couch emoji with the light. Wow. At least 170 U.S. hospitals face major flood risk. Experts say Trump's making it worse. Let's see if your hospital is on the list. I mean, if you think about it, the only thing they are is well dressed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Donald Trump's like a turd, but look at all the rest of them are like they wear like tailored suits and shirts, their hair's slicked back, and every fucking detail is in line. You know what I'm saying? I'm just spitballing, kids. I forgot to share that we were live. Ooh, I hate Google, man. What the fuck is going on with Opera? Hmm. I don't know. I'll just restart my computer to show something. Poop is compost and brings forth life. Yes. Peninsula Hospital in Louisville, Tennessee. CAMC in Charleston, West Virginia. Sherman Oaks in LA. Cadillac Regional Medical Center. Ugh. Ascension, St. Vincent Kokomo is the one in Indiana, and there's a bunch in Chicago. Mostly the coast, the real problem areas, the Gulf Coast, uh, the southeastern coast of the country, um, and then a bunch of hospitals along that northeast corridor. Climate change ain't real. When the shit comes home, talk about yo, talk about the. All right. Ease up on poop. Okay. Um, it is better than yeah. Young Trump voters say they regret voting for a reckless dictator. Yeah, yeah. All those hospitals on the Gulf Coast are looking pretty rough. Donald Trump sounded exhausted, incoherent, and stupid in his speech. Yes, Gabby, 100%. I'm telling you, nobody is sucking Stephen Miller's dick, and that's a problem. He's not getting his rocks off. I'm just saying. I'm the kind of guy that walks in a room and can immediately be like, okay, that guy's problematic because he's clearly not getting laid. Just straight up until that person has met someone that like gets them and they are entertained for the evening, we are all in danger. Yep. Stacy said openly gay people are the nicest, kindest people ever. Can you imagine being the kind of person that's gay and gets emotionally like upset at the sight of a pride protest because you don't feel like you belong there because you've been a shill your whole life? hmm Imagine being such a weak bitch that he's not a sexual matador. That means he avoids it, right? There was an attack on a synagogue. Two killed, suspect shot dead on Yom Kippur. Prospect.org. How Mamdani's predecessors built democratic socialism. Can you imagine if somebody just gave them butt plugs and were like, don't walk around with it in and the world will be a better place? You know what I mean? Like, That's why, I mean, notice that they don't fuck with Pete, right? You don't ever hear them like talking shit about Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, Manchester. Yesterday, Governor J.B. Pritzker claimed that Donald Trump has dementia. He also suggested that Donald Trump should be impeached and removed from office using the 25th Amendment. Yeah, just send them an array of butt plugs. Tell them to go crazy, but not crazy enough to leave it in while you're in public. And a lot of problems just go away. I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in that there are people that are alive right now who, if someone hadn't just got a nut off, they'd be dead. I'm just saying it. And so if you just think about in your life all the times that you thought you were going to lose your motherfucking mind and instead you rubbed one out and no one died. The fuck I'm talking about. So these motherfuckers like have never they never have got that, right? They're so tense. They walk around all the time like I'm going to fucking kill you and shit, and even though they don't do anything, right? They're not the mental image of fucking Pete Hegseth struggling to do a pull-up. Move out and draw fire. You know what I mean? Like Bob said Lindsey Graham don't leave his house without his plug. Yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, you know what I think's great? I've been telling my audience forever to join a union and like, hey, you don't have to be in a job specific union. You could just join Work in America, right? So I've been telling everybody to join Work in America. I saw some numbers, and Work in America is growing. Now, the problem is some of these other unions are shrinking, hmm and that's going to happen. hmm hmm The president of the United States is trying to profit himself and position himself to enrich him burp himself and his family at the expense of the American taxpayer, up to including Venezuela, Israel, and here's so Mayflower. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics that has been going for we started on December 11th. So we are 9 days from having been hanging out together for 10 months, like most of a year, every day. hmm Yeah. Recently, no, not the feet. Don't let all our secrets out. Yeah. I am a socialist, and that means that I believe in things like equality for all. Um, I'm also pro union, so I think everyone should just join a union. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. Um, I'm not here to run for public office. I'm not here to enrich myself. So that's I think one of the reasons that we have consistently about a classroom size audience, hmm which is plenty. So I don't advertise. I don't take ads. So that's one of the joys of the show is that 90 minutes long, largely news based. Sometimes we just sit and talk, and that's okay too. Yeah, that's okay too. Yeah, one of the things that I don't do, I don't storyboard my show. I'm not planning this. I'm not going to sit around all day waiting for the news to roll in to figure out what I want to talk about. We are a rudderless boat. We're just adrift together, navigating whatever the fuck is out here together. And the best part about it is, I think, is that I'm injecting myself and my life into the kind of news that we're talking about, right? So I focus on things like the world news, world military action, things that are going to have like potential long-term impacts globally. Most people don't even think about that shit. And then obviously focus on like the news in the United States. I don't focus on one of the things I've noticed about myself is that I don't talk a lot about where I live, right? I mean, Indianapolis, stuff like that, because uh, pe- people like my wife would prefer us not to get attention. I'll admit that I kind of dig the back and forth. The one of the things about this show is that for 90 minutes a day, I'm in communication with like-minded people, talking about what's really going on in the world and how are we processing it and kind of handling all of it. Um, So yeah, I think there are a lot of people that will tell you that they have benefited from the show in some way. Um, and at least at the end of the day, no matter what any of us do for our jobs, I can say that every day I hang out with my friends and we talk about what's going on in the world. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm actually taking action, right? So I've been to protests. I encourage people to go to protests. I join union. I most recently purchased a water gathering kit so that I could do what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to grow a garden. I'm going to grow a fucking garden. Now I'm old, so what it's not going to look like is cheap shit that's low to the ground, that's not sustainable. When you grow a garden, it's got to be something that you can do forever. So one of the major hurdles that I have is that I need tall planters. Mhm. Yep. And the good news is you can build tall planters by just digging good big pits. And those pits will turn into little pools. And then you have a natural water supply for your elevated planter. And the reason you want an elevated planter is so you don't break your fucking back in your garden. You already got to lift up these big ass watermelons and shit that you're going to grow. Why also destroy your back, right? It's October, bro. You can do all the construction work leading up to next year. Now is a good time to do all the movement. Why'd I get an image of Shaq gardening, right? I'm okay. Do you know the kind of person I am? The reason I'm apt to want to pay someone to mow my yard and take care of my yard. I'm the kind of person that will try to use like a garden spade, like a hand spade, and break the tool, right? I'm the kind of person that bends the shovel, and then you just get frustrated and don't want to do the shit no more. Hmm? I'm just not the. So I need big, blunt objects. You know what I mean? What about the First Amendment? What about the First Amendment? That's the problem, though. If you hand me something, I'll break it. That's not a good quality. Anyway, what I was getting at is uh, Donald Trump's over here enriching himself in office. Yeah, we talked about that. First thing we talked about this morning was the flotilla getting intercepted. Something like 19 ships out of the 44, which means that aid will be received in Gaza despite the Israeli blockade. Hmm. That was the first thing we talked about. Mhm. Off rip, Mayflower. I'm on your ass. Russia's economy is creaking, and the Kremlin wants Russians to pay more for the war. So the beatings will continue whether or not morale improves. Gabby said woke up to 40 degrees today. Jesus. Canada has announced the Defense Investment Agency to manage purchase, delivery of military equipment. I mean, seems like everybody's gearing up for war. Tyson Foods pays $85 million, the largest pork price fixing settlement. Wow. Remember, keep in mind when we're looking at these, like kind of like what's going on. When the President of the United States makes an executive order, that does not mean action happens. It just means the President wrote a memo. If there's not an accompanying bill, it's how do we say hoodoo, shite, garbage. Yeah. Trump administration puts a hold on $18 billion in funding for New York City infrastructure projects. Everybody should move to where I live and be my neighbor. I want yesterday my wife and I ordered a local Italian restaurant and my wife got me this bowl. It was fucking incredible. Made me sad because it's like now I have money enough to eat locally instead of trying to eat cheap. And you realize when you go pick up at these restaurants and you're the only customer they had all day that you're just like, fuck. Same thing with the little coffee shop we went to. Man, our coffee was supposed to be like $7 a piece, it's a local place, so I'll fucking pay it. And that lady said $8 and change, and I about shit my pants. Like, no, the fuck you did not. And then she said Wednesdays is buy one get one. Like, ah, fuck. But he said all war would stop. He told a bunch of generals he stopped like 7 wars. By the way, I want to continue to point this out. Mike Johnson got told to his face Donald Trump is unwell, and he replied, "Yeah, but." I'm gonna say it again. Mike Johnson got approached, and the nice lady said, um, "Donald Trump is unwell," and Mike Johnson replied, "Yeah, but there's crazy on your side too." He both sides that shit. Okay. Yep. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, I think we can get off world news for the day. I'm sure shit will happen because it happens every fucking day. Uh, you know, signs that democracy might survive. The Supreme Court has decided that Lisa Cook can keep her job for now. You can imagine if they'd have let Donald Trump fire Lisa Cook, shit would be. Wait, he said there's crazy on your side too, like verbatim. Oh, Atlas. Oh, Atlas. Let's find the video for our friend. Here it is. Here it is, Atlas. Link coming to you live. Live right here. He literally said, "Yeah, but there's crazy people on your side too." Which is an admission that Donald Trump is unwell. Yeah, but that may be true and yeah, yeah. Uh First of all, I didn't know there were dolphins in the Hudson River. I don't know if Hudson Valley Post is a real place, but we're going to run this story. They're now endangered due to radioactive waste, so this sounds like something out of a comic book. That sounds like Captain Planet. Purity tests, eh? I didn't even know there were dolphins in the Hudson River, much less did I know that they were endangered due to radioactive waste. Who would have known? Pentagon plans widespread random polygraph testing. The non-disclosure agreements, the Washington Post reports. They think that there's leaks. I say there's good investigative journalism. All military service members, civilian employees, and contract workers within the Office of the Defense Secretary and the Joint Staff would be required to sign a non-disclosure agreement that prohibits the release of non-public information without approval or through a defined process. Oh, I already shared that. Huh. I wish we had a Captain Planet, right? Instead, we have Mike Johnson. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Apparent remains of missing woman found behind secret entry to attic in California. It's some fucking mystery novel type shit. Fire, earth, wind, water, and heart. Oh, Douglas Irwin Shaw arrested on suspicion of murder in connection with Lewis's death. What do you bet he's a white man? She was a 28-year-old black woman. Reportedly missing Sunday. Her remains were found in an attic. You think a black guy did that? The fuck out of here. There's two things I'll never believe in a million years on first glance. I'll never believe that the killer wrote on the bullets. I just want you to know that. And if they do, I can promise you they don't write anti-Nazi and then shoot the bullets at somebody that's wearing handcuffs. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. Like when somebody gets shot and blood flies out of their neck, I will not believe that they were shot from the direction the bullet shot towards, right? Because it's not like you're shooting into a jar of liquid and water's going to come splashing back out from whence the bullet entered. And that it had to break the blood-brain barrier so that when it came out his neck, the blood went with it, right? So a lot of people are even saying now, analysts are saying, are you ready for this? Charlie Kirk was shot by a drone, not a person. In fact, from where the bullet came from, you couldn't have fit a person. Yeah, the ICE detainee shooter. Yeah, he didn't write anti-Nazi on the bullet. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Mm. You know what else didn't happen? Tyler Robinson didn't write all them texts to his girl explaining every detail of the murder. He didn't write that shit either. Mm-mm. He also, you know what else? Tyler Robinson can't shoot a 6 inch grouping with a Mauser at 250 meters on demand. He couldn't shoot a 6 inch grouping. Yeah, it's here's the thing. I too grew up in a Republican household. I too grew up in an NRA household. I grew up in the Boy Scouts. I grew up with a rifle in my hand. Now, my family used it for hunting and subsistence, right? Um, and so Tyler Robinson's kind of upbringing and mine pretty similar. Um, but to believe without a great deal of training, and I'm talking about not just military training, I don't care who you are. Ain't no civilian shooting a 6 inch grouping, climbing on top of a roof, running to a shooting spot, laying the fuck down, putting a weapon together, fucking, you know what I'm saying? No. Nope. Didn't happen. Not a million fucking years. He'd have blown his head off. What the fuck are we talking? That white tent would have looked red. There'd just been blood everywhere. Yeah. He got shot by a much smaller round, probably like a 22. Hmm. Could have been, and that means that could have come from anywhere at the angle that he was shot at. Because you could see it enter pretty high in the back of the head and come out his neck. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen tons of great analysis on it. Mhm. Yep. Had to be a smaller round just simply because of behavior. Big enough round, it rocked him off that chair. Hmm. I've seen a couple people shoot a 30-06 at a pig's neck and a gelatin head. And I'm still correct. And oh, look, the head exploded. The fucking pig's neck blew up. Um, no, I was raised Methodist, which is like Catholic light. And now I'm not religious. I don't believe in any of that shit. Meta could owe billions for Florida class action verdict. I wonder why Mark Zuckerberg is really invested in this administration. Does anybody, could anybody possibly think about anyone? Bueller? Hmm. Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg went to Mar-a-Lago and gave Donald Trump $1 million? So he could get him off the hook. In August, a federal jury found Facebook parent Meta liable for violating the privacy of users of the fertility app Flow. Meta could be on the hook for up to $8 billion. So if you're using the app Meta, or Flow, sorry, to track your. Jesus Christ. What's crazy What's crazy is I went to school to be an air traffic controller. So here's an article about how the FAA plans to furlough 11,000 employees. Yeah, right. There's the story about the government shutdown from MSNBC. Russia to deploy new BMPT Terminator. That looks stupid. Oh god, they built a tank with a gap underneath the mounted turret, the rotating turret. This is stupid. You could just easily just take that thing out with a drone. You could see it plain as day. There's a gap between the track and the turret. Perfect spot for a drone. Gretchen Whitmer hints at 2028 presidential bid. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know much about her. Oh, by the way, I took a picture of all the comedians that are performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival who I will never pay money to go see. And I will also make sure my wife and I get out to go see comedians that speak out against it instead. Hmm. And I encourage you to do the same. It's called a special economy, by the way. where the businesses that are well liked, that treat their employees well, that pay their employees well, that encourage their employees to join unions. These are the companies that should succeed. The companies that meet the public expectation. hmm Jane Goodall died yesterday. We talked about it in the chat, I believe. And by the way, the first now the only problem with Gavin Newsom is that up to this point, I haven't seen his policy. I've seen what his 29-year-old social media manager is capable of. Yesterday, you got to see a little bit of his policy, and I'm telling you that man's going to be president. hmm Yeah, he said he was going to legalize marijuana. He's the governor of the fourth largest economy in the United States. He's also pro universal health care. Hello, is this thing on? I need show me another fucking candidate that is pro universal health care and pro legal weed, right? Someone send me the Discord link. Understand that we make the Discord available to all, but it doesn't stay available for all. You will be judged by a jury of your peers. If you're a fuckhead, you're gonna get treated like one. If you're cool, you'll be allowed to stick around. There's a link. Okay, I think I'm off news. I heard something. Yeah. Yep. Yesterday, Donald Cunt. Oh man, I think I just came up with his new name. Fuck my life. Now I can't unsay it. I don't know if you heard it. I said Donald Cunt, and then once I said it, my brain was like all the oxygen was just being like sucked into my brain. Like, no, keep going, on that, on that, on that, on that. You know, and you're trying to like tell your brain like, stop, 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 stop. We're not a 14-year-old kid. Like, knock that off, knock that shit off. Um, Donald Donald Trump cut funding to the blue states that didn't vote for him. States with two Democratic senators, by the way. And by the way, Donald Trump has said in the past that if the government, yeah, President Cunt. The thing about it is, can I even say that on the internet without getting like blocked into oblivion? I'm gonna find the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Definitely willing to fuck around and find out. Hmm. Yeah, we're about to find out the links of the internet. President Cunt, Donald Cunt, say it like straight faced and shit. Yeah, he said he likes to grab people by the pussy and shit. Like, okay, Donald Cunt, President Cunt, Melania Cunt, and their cunt children. Yeah, tough. It's tough. It's a tough. It's hard out here for the cunts. I mean Trumps. Bob said he just got to cleaning all the coffee from his phone. Ah, I live to make people giggle. I'm sorry that I didn't become a famous comedian. It's just as corrupt as everything fucking else. Art is dead. There is no fucking good medium for comedy. It always gets destroyed because free speech just means that the government isn't supposed to fuck with you based on what you say, and people don't realize that freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences, right? Yeah. You know what's fucking crazy? If there was a super lib family that did everything the polar opposite that the Trumps did, and they were called the cunts. Comedy fucking they could just be normal human beings, right? That there's nothing fucking wrong with them at all, and it's just they play it straight. The cunts. Oh my god, you wouldn't last 90 days in the air. That shit would get fucking ripped. Yes, yes. The cunt family, they do the polar fucking opposite of what the Trumps do. Hmm. Hmm. And I guarantee you wouldn't even make it 90 days on air. They would be like, they're parroting the Trumps, except their name's the cunts. Except they do the polar opposite. The absolute fucking opposite. Instead of having dementia, they have fucking unlimited recall. You know what I mean? Yeah, cunt's a great fucking word. Cunt. The thing about the word cunt is that its value and impact increases once you leave the states. In the United States, it's almost taboo to use the word cunt. Once you leave the states, it's encouraged. Like that's the bitch. In the United States, bitch is kind of the general insult. Bitch and dick, right? Asshole, bitch, dick, and asshole, right? What if it was the cunt family, but instead of snapping their fingers, they just lightly essayed each other? Ah, uh, things that make you want to scream. Here's Secretary Treasury Secretary Bessent says U.S. GDP could take a hit. You don't fucking say. Gotta get out of here. It's 9:30. The shocker symbol. But yeah, the cunts. Donald Cunt, President Cunt, and the Cunt family. The by the way, the Republican Party wanted to shut down the government so they could figure out what to do about the Epstein files. I don't know if we like said that yet. Let's play a little Eat the Rich and get the fuck out of here. By the way, not out of my mouth, but out of multiple people involved in this scenario, Warzone's off. Awful. For like the next 7 months at least. Alright. And then let's check the weather and get the fuck out of here. Do not be surprised by the weather. One of the things I'm leaving my show every day pounding the table is do not be taken surprised by weather. My audience will tell you. My audience will tell you what happened that changed, that you saw a change in behavior from Jared Malat. What happened? Hill Country, Texas. Surprise floods killed who knows how many. They probably lied about how many people died in the Hill Country in Texas. A flood prone area where kids spent their summers. And a storm system came through, and it just so happens in Tarrant County, Texas, their leadership voted not to take in early warning systems and the technology necessary to predict weather. And ever since then, every day, we end this show talking about the fucking weather. We are going to make sure that at least the people that are around me, we're talking about how severe the weather is and how it is wildly impacting our lives. Come be my neighbor. So let's look at the weather. All right, so if you live in the northwest part of the country, your shit's on fire, but there's rain everywhere. So good luck with that. Um, there's a storm in San Francisco, a storm in Northern California, a storm in Western Oregon, storm in Northwest Washington. That looks like a freeze warning in Northern Idaho, along with fire. So how? Um, there's also another storm in the same place in the middle part of the country. That vertical line of storms going from like Oklahoma, middle Oklahoma, all the way up to northern Kansas. It looks like beyond a shadow of a doubt, if your shit is in Florida, it's getting pissed on. Unless you're up on the Panhandle or in northern Florida, there's moisture all over the Gulf of Mexico and all over the eastern side of Florida. A little bit of moisture up on the coast. Otherwise, pretty clear. Okay, that, that's really it. Pretty clear otherwise. Your shit's on fire if you're in the west. There's a handful of storm systems. Florida is getting fucked. There's no two words otherwise to say. Hmm. To make sure that you keep your eyes on the weather. Forget Nebraska. Yeah, there wasn't anything in Nebraska. It was like, yeah. Let me make sure I got my states right. Yeah, it was Oklahoma and Kansas. There wasn't a storm system in Nebraska. Oh, Northeast. There wasn't any major weather systems or warnings, so there was no freeze warnings, nor flood warnings, nor active storm systems. So, I hope you don't get go fucked by the wind. But like other than that, have a good day. Can't help you there. They don't those wind warnings are hard to come by. And I don't otherwise know. You know what I mean? You got frost. Yeah, I thought it was coming. You have a good day. Like it's on the way. Rain in Oregon hadn't had rain in months. Jesus Christ. The Northwest has been on fire for months.